What is your name?
It's almost June. You know my name.
His name is Michael Machado. He's our wannabe funny teacher. Alright, I'm asking you a few questions about homeless people. I want you to answer honestly, nothing but the truth. Alright, what do you think? What are some stereotypes that you have? What do you think of a homeless person?
Stereotypes that I have?
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't really have like stereotypes negative, but the ones that I hear all the time is that they're lazy, they don't want to work, they're lazy, they don't want to work, and that they put themselves in a situation. That's usually the stereotypes I hear, but that's not really the truth.
Do you have any experiences with them?
Some live nearby me.
So you have never spoken to one?
Yes, I've spoken to some. They're people.
What do you think of them when you speak to them?
I think they're people like everybody else.
Okay.
Some of them are pretty nice, some of them are a little bit strange because they're probably should be getting psychiatric help, but they don't get any help.
Okay. I think that's it, actually.
Can you please tell us your name?
My name is Lina Su.
Do you have any stereotype about homeless people?
Stereotypes about homeless? Well, what I have thought about homeless people is that some may have mental illness, or some may be on either drugs or alcohol. Those are my main stereotypes about homeless people.
Have you ever encountered a homeless person?
I have. Probably on a daily basis, especially coming from work over here on King and Main. Like there are tents and shopping carts where they set up their homes, pretty much. That's where, and even walking by on the sidewalks, you'll see homeless people in corners sleeping.
Do you think there's anything you could do or anybody else to help them or minimize the homeless we have around here?
Yeah, I think there should be more readily available resources for homeless people and advertising these resources, particularly in like mental health or in substance abuse programs that they may not be aware of to help them in these situations.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
May you please say your name?
Hugo Espinosa.
Are there any stereotypes you have towards homeless people?
Yes. For example, when I was a kid, my mom would tell me not to go to downtown because there were many homeless people and they were all crazy. You know, and that's a bias that stayed with me for a long time until I actually had a chance to know some people who were homeless and understood that not all have mental problems. You know, some people are actually working, you know, and they're just sleeping in their car because they don't have enough money to afford a place, especially now they're so expensive to rent in the city. So yeah, I think that sometimes I have hold some prejudice against homeless people.
Have you ever had any experiences with homeless people?
Just charity work, when you know you go to feed them. I did a lot of that with in my high school. In my country, in Chile, there was a church that they will cook meals, you know, every Sunday, and we will help out preparing the meals and serving them the meals to the homeless. So the homeless will go to the church and we will give them food and we'll talk to them, just keep them company. But now in my adult life and in this country, I have not done that very much.
Are there any ways you think we can help the homeless people by minimizing the population? Like,
Of homelessness?
yeah.
Well, I think that now they're doing a survey I just heard in the radio, and they're realizing that we have more homeless than we actually thought we had. And a big reason for that is because a lot of homeless move from other parts of the country to Los Angeles. It has a better weather. You know, you cannot be a homeless in Canada with the snow in the winter, right? And also because the rent is so high, so a lot of people are actually working, but they're not making enough to pay the rent. They were saying in NPR that 1/3 of residents of Los Angeles County is actually spending more than half of their money in rent, and that's crazy. You cannot like survive like that for a long time. So I think that rent control is very important to keep prices of housing affordable, and also provide some mental health too. There's any veterans that are also homeless, you know, and they have a hard time finding jobs to help them out. And just in general, funds to help people don't get sick, for example, some hospital investment in giving housing to people, because that way they get less sick and it's less expense for the hospital. So I think there's many things that we can do and invest on that.
If you don't mind answering these questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
And if you don't have to answer the questions if you don't want to.
Yeah.
So
Shoot, I'm from New York. I ain't.
that's pretty far.
What type of services do you think will help you?
Oh, that's a tough question because they have a supposedly new homeless initiative where if the people stay in a shelter for like 90 days or longer, they'll try to find them permanent housing. The problem is that most, I'll say, a large percentage of the homeless population in Los Angeles have substance abuse issues, and so a lot of the housing, either they don't allow it. If they do allow it, in other words, to make a long story short, the rules at most housing places that they would house the homeless and the lifestyle of the people don't mix with each other, because a lot of the homeless people, they're out here because they want to live the way they want to live. Everybody has the right to be free, and that's the issue. So unless they're going to have housing where the people can take out their rent money from whatever income they get and let them do drugs as long as they're not bothering nobody, or drink or smoke or whatever, it's going to be a problem. Most homeless people, if they're honest with you, they'll tell you they don't want to go inside because they don't want the rules and the regulations. Second of all, you have a lot of groups that take money supposedly to help the homeless, but they're putting the money in their own pockets. They call them poverty pimps. So what would really help the homeless is if they can be housed where they can be free to live their own lifestyle, as long as they're paying the rent and they're not causing trouble. Other than that, they could put some showers in the area. Other than that, I don't really see much more that they can do.
Where would you like to be in a year?
That's a good question. In a year, one or two things, I would like to have at least $10,000 or more in the bank. I would like to live someplace, but someplace where there's not a lot of rules and stuff. Actually, in about a year, I'm out. If my SSI don't get approved this time, I might be going back to work because I just turned 59 and I want to build up some more for my retirement. But that's where I want to be in the year. I don't want to be like this time next year. I'm thinking about the future, but here's to make a long story short, right? I just lost my place this past February. I lived there 11 years, 4 months, and 2 weeks. Right now I live in a little tent. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at the mistakes that I made, and then I'm a little more financially responsible now. And I'm learning how to live and organize myself in a small space. So when I come up again, I won't make the same mistakes. I don't want to just be out here roaming the streets, but anybody can get in a place. The issue is keeping what you get. So I'm starting all over again, but I'm starting life from the ground up, literally.
Anything you'd like us to know?
How old are you?
16.
How old are you?
17.
How old is the other guy?
16. Yeah, about 16.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, man. I don't know if you noticed how fast I was moving down the street. I moved pretty quick. I move quicker than a lot of people that are not pushing anything at all. I'm gonna tell you what one of my teachers told me when me and my best friend in Brooklyn were in high school, Mr. Rosenberg. This was back in the late 70s. He had a saying there, the young people don't trust nobody over 30. And he was like 33. He told us, he said, the secret is to staying young, is staying young in your heart. And even though I just turned 59 this past April, I feel youthful and energetic every day. And that's the secret, man. As long as you stay young in your mind and your heart, learn how to listen, be wise, don't be influenced by your friends. We call it peer pressure. Don't be influenced by it, because when I was 16, they used to ask us in high school, where do you want to be in 5 years? By the time I was 22, my star was rising, man. Once I sat on top of the world. Twice I did. And I'm fitting to do it again. But this time I'm learning from mistakes. So I tell you, they have a youth is wasted on the young, because a lot of times when we're young, we think, I remember what it's like. It's like, oh man, you feel like you're gonna be young forever, you're gonna be invincible, and time is on your side. But if you, and God forbid nothing happen to you, if you guys live another 10 years, you'll be 26 and 27. You'll see life. You'll look back, go, wow, man, I should have did this, I should have did that. So my advice to any young person, number one, get you some kind of savings account. Don't put it in a bank, put it in they have these things, the savings and loans, that you get more interest and your money is guaranteed. Get you a savings and loan, save your money, carefully think out everything that you do. Don't spend a lot of time partying and chasing girls, because here we get right to the point, right? The most important thing to, like those houses across the street, is the foundation. So take your life, build a strong foundation first, and then build upon that. Get you a very solid education. That's the second most important thing. And always keep your mind open. When you wake up every morning, everything you think you thought you learned or you knew from yesterday, forget about it. That way, your mind is open to learn something new. There's always something new that I can learn from an ant, a kitten, a baby, to you, to the oldest person. Third and final thought is something the last thing my father told me before he died. He said, son, he died just before I turned 21. He said, if you forget everything daddy has ever taught you, remember this one thing. He said, you will lose your job, the house, the bank account, the wife, the kids, the car. He said, but son, he said, if you don't lose your mind, you can get all of that stuff back. So that's my final word of advice. Keep your mind intact. Your mind is like a highway or a freeway with cars driving up and down the freeway. And you have to be very careful and selective to what you allow to ride up and down the freeway of your mind.
What is the struggle you deal with every day?
Well, struggle I deal with every day.
Yeah.
Look ahead of you, girls, because I'm a hustler. There's always women because they know I make money every day. I struggle with drugs, but not that much because my system has I can't do with so many drugs, especially in the summertime. But other than that, I'm serious because I'm talking to two people that are younger and I'm trying to pass a message, but usually I'm happy. I'm a happy, upbeat type of person. Nothing really gets me down.
Well, that was the last of our questions.
Okay,
I appreciate it.
yeah.